A series of demonstrations by right-wing groups against so-called Islamic extremism have dominated the headlines in the UK this year. Muslims and anti-fascists have held counter-demonstrations, and all too often things have turned ugly.
In the last few months, there's been a lot of communal tension between Muslims and non-Muslims in this country. And attitudes and stereotypes seem to be hardening on both sides. But here, for the first time in a public forum, Muslims are debating directly with their most ardent detractors.
Amid a police security presence in a hall in central London, a Muslim group organised a hugely controversial gathering.
Smash the BNP!
Muslims, right-wing nationalists, secularists and anti-Sharia activists all under one roof, slugging it out, verbally at least.
We want to also show the people that allege that Muslims silence critics of Islam, that we will give the most ardent critics of Islam an open platform to say whatever they wish, just as long as they are willing to accept fair response back from Muslims and in a fair, balanced way.
Nationalist speakers voiced concerns over mass immigration and what they called attempts by Muslims to introduce Sharia law in the UK.
We're not the same that we've been put down as skinhead, racists, white supremacists, all stuff like this. We're multicultural, we want to stand together against Islamic extremists.
Not everything under a BNP government would be tolerated the way it is now. We would ban the burqa. To we English, the hidden face is sinister and reminds us of terrorists and highwaymen. The Swiss vote in favour of banning minarets is something we would replicate. The skyline should not be dominated by mosques, which should be smaller constructions appropriate to a foreign faith.
Muslims on the panel and in the audience accused the nationalists of scaremongering and demonising Islam.
First, I'd like to say that Islam denounces terrorism. Islam denounces what happened in 9/11 and 7/7. Let's make that absolutely clear. If you just type into Google, Muslims condemn terrorism, you'll get loads and hundreds of web pages with a veritable who's who of people condemning terrorism.
At one point, a man was ejected from the venue for shouting abuse at a nationalist. Protesters outside the venue also condemned the organisers for giving a platform to what they call fascists. But overall, most felt the debate had been worthwhile. To settle differences, audience members told me you have to speak to your enemies. Roshan Muhammed Salih, Press TV, London.